A seismic shock is quietly tearing America apart. Not an earthquake, not a banking crisis, but the collapse of brands that once were immortal. Walmart closing stores en masse, Walgreens disappearing from entire neighborhoods, Macy's, Subway, Best Buy, once symbols of a prosperous America, now are reduced to dim lights and going out of business signs. Within a year, more than 3,200 major stores have gone dark. Each time a door closes, hundreds lose their jobs, a community goes numb, and a piece of the soul of the American dream disappears. Do you think this crisis will stop here? Wrong. The next wave is spreading fast, and it could reach the very city you live in. Look closely, because 12 major retailers you once believed were invincible are gradually collapsing. And when those brands fall, what will America lose? 12. Walmart, the giant that's bleeding. For more than half a century, Walmart was the symbol of the American dream, where working families shopped on weekends, where retirees stopped by every morning for a bit of familiar comfort. But by 2025, that image is changing faster than anyone could imagine. The yellow and blue store closing signs are appearing more frequently in California, Illinois, Washington, and even in small towns that once saw Walmart as their economic heartbeat. The frightening part is, Walmart isn't losing money. Annual revenue still exceeds $600 billion, but profits are being eroded by a silent enemy: theft. In 2024 alone, retail industry losses from shrink, meaning stolen or missing goods, reached $112 billion, with Walmart shouldering over $3 billion of that. Some stores lose $10,000 a week just to theft, forcing security costs to skyrocket. Rent, electricity, employee wages, everything is climbing. In some areas, Walmart can no longer sustain operations, even when customers are still coming. Middle-class American consumers, Walmart's longtime backbone, are tightening their spending. They're buying less, visiting stores less often, and shifting to online orders or hunting discounts at cheaper chains like Dollar General. The slogan, "Everyday low prices," now sounds ironic, when even low has become a burden. To adapt, Walmart is pouring massive investments into AI, warehouse robots, and smart distribution centers, a model of fewer stores, but higher efficiency. But that also means thousands of workers losing their jobs, and many small communities drained of life. When Walmart leaves, jobs vanish, local tax revenue shrinks, and once bustling parking lots turn into cold, empty spaces. For many older Americans, Walmart isn't just a place to shop, it's a habit, a rhythm of everyday life, and when that door closes, they lose a piece of memory, a piece of belonging in their daily routine. The remaining question is, if even Walmart can't survive across America, who can still stand? Leave all your thoughts below. Write down what you see, what's happening around you, so everyone can know. Hit like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next stories, because what's coming next is even more shocking. 11. Walgreens, the familiar pharmacy disappearing from America. This is the chain no one ever thought could collapse, until it actually did. Within the next 12 months, more than 1,000 Walgreens pharmacies will disappear from the American map. Not a small chain, not an unfamiliar brand, but the very store you once stopped by every morning to buy blood pressure medicine or pick up a few small items before heading home. As of early 2025, Walgreens still operates more than 8,700 stores, but the company has confirmed plans to close up to 1,200 locations over the next 3 years, beginning in California, Illinois, Florida, and New York. Every week, an average of 7 to 8 stores shut down. The reason doesn't come from one single incident, but from a prolonged chain of pressures. Rising rents, higher employee insurance costs, and retail theft losses that have cost Walgreens hundreds of millions of dollars each year. The latest quarterly report shows the corporation lost more than $245 million USD, even while spending tens of millions on anti-theft measures. But ironically, the very act of locking shelves and sealing cabinets drove customers away. Sales dropped, stores lost their energy, and the downward spiral began consuming itself. The impact of this wave hits seniors the hardest, those who depend on monthly prescriptions. In rural Arizona and Ohio, thousands of people now have to drive more than 20 miles to find a pharmacy still open. Bill, 72, shared, "I used to drive only 10 minutes. Now I have to wait for mail delivery, sometimes delayed up to 4 days." A distance that seems small, but for patients, it can mean the line between safety and danger. Walgreens calls this a strategic restructuring. But for communities, it's a quiet withdrawal. When the last pharmacy door closes, it's not just the sign that disappears. It's the sense of reassurance that millions of Americans once had, quietly fading away. And what about you? The nearest Walgreens where you live. Is it still lit? 10. Best Buy. The tech paradise running out of power. There was a time when stepping into Best Buy felt like stepping into the future. The smell of new plastic from flat-screen TVs, the deep sound of Bose speakers, and rows of glowing laptops that looked like a technology exhibition. But by 2025, that paradise is going dark. Best Buy, the electronics retail chain that once had more than 1,500 stores across America, has now closed over 400 locations in just 4 years. Revenue isn't falling because Americans stopped loving technology, but because they no longer need to go to the store. Most customers now visit Best Buy to look, then order online from Amazon, where it's cheaper, faster, and there's no checkout line. In fact, Best Buy's net profit dropped from $2.4 billion in 2021 to just $1 billion by 2024. Massive rent costs, some stores paying up to $100,000 per month, plus electricity, insurance, and wages, have left the chain gasping for air. Meanwhile, Amazon and Apple sell products directly, cutting out the middleman. The result? Each Best Buy store now makes less than 65% of the revenue it did 5 years ago. Americans once saw Best Buy as the place to touch technology, where whole families came to test a new TV on weekends. But by 2025, that habit has vanished. No one needs to test a camera when phones take better photos. No one upgrades laptops every 3 years like before. And so those spaces once glowing with blue light now echo only footsteps. A 60-year-old woman wrote, "I hate buying electronics online. I want to touch them, to hear the staff explain. But now, there's no one left to ask." That line may sound small, but it's the sigh of an entire generation. People who once believed technology would make life easier, not leave them feeling left behind. As the blue neon lights fade inside Best Buy stores, people are beginning to realize what's disappearing isn't just a place that sells electronics. It's the feeling of real connection between people and the future. 9. Subway. The sandwich empire falling apart. Subway was once where all of America stopped in the middle of a busy day. A long sandwich, the smell of freshly baked bread, slices of ham, and crisp vegetables. Who hasn't eaten there at least once? But by 2025, the chain once praised as America's national lunch is facing an unprecedented crisis. Once boasting over 40,000 stores worldwide, Subway has closed more than 2,000 U.S. locations in just a few years. Empty shops, for lease signs everywhere, and the brand is losing what matters most: customer trust. Subway used to be great in the old days, but now the bread is stale, employees don't care, and the quality has dropped a lot. One viewer once wrote, "That seemingly simple comment reveals everything. Quality is no longer consistent, staff are burned out, and the customer experience has turned cold." When people walk into Subway and no longer feel served, they look elsewhere, even if it's just for another sandwich under a different name. Hundreds of stores opened right next to each other, fighting over every dollar of profit, pushing many franchise owners into bankruptcy. At the same time, Americans have changed their taste. They want real food, brands with soul, not a chain that mindlessly hangs a slogan saying "eat fresh" while serving something that feels old. People are witnessing the death of an era, a time when lunch still carried a little joy and wasn't just a rushed meal between two shifts. If you want to keep following what's really happening to the US economy and its major retail chains, hit subscribe right now, and you'll know before it happens in your own neighborhood. Fate. Dollar General. Cheaper, but at a higher price. Dollar General was once seen as the savior of America's working class, a place where anyone could buy dinner with just a few spare dollars. But ironically, this very low-cost brand is now paying the highest price in its history. According to the Q2 2025 report, Dollar General has closed more than 400 stores and announced it will pause new openings in 2026. After opening an average of 3 stores a day for a decade, the company has now stopped because it doesn't have enough workers to operate, and customers no longer have enough money to buy even discounted goods. One viewer commented, "I used to buy everything at Dollar General, but now there's nothing dollar about it. A bottle of shampoo costs $6. A pack of cookies costs $4. It's not a discount store anymore." That sentence may sound simple, but it's the eulogy for a business model that once survived on poverty. When working Americans can no longer afford even discounted items, it's not just a business issue. It's a sign that the economy itself is weakening from the ground up. Many Dollar General stores in rural areas now have only one overnight worker, acting as cashier, stocker, and security guard all at once. Empty shelves, dim lights, and lonely door chimes have replaced the once busy image of the past. A place that was once a lifeline for poor communities has now become a symbol of post-pandemic America's exhaustion. Someone said, "Dollar General isn't going bankrupt. We are the ones who are." And if you visited a Dollar General near your home, you'll understand. Sometimes the cheapest things end up costing us the most. What about you? Where you live, is Dollar General still open? Or has it become another empty building in your neighborhood? Share your story below, because your comment might be the most honest picture of America today. 7-Eleven. The store of the night, fading its lights. Amid the American streets that never sleep, the orange and green sign of 7-Eleven was once the only thing that stayed bright. It was where drivers stopped mid-shift, where workers grabbed a cup of coffee, and where seniors picked up a few cold tablets at midnight. But that light, the symbol of 24/7 convenience, is dimming, one state at a time. In 2025 alone, more than 800 7-Eleven stores in the U.S. have closed or been sold, mainly in urban areas with high crime rates and operating costs far exceeding profits. The parent company in Japan reported profits in the U.S. market down nearly 18%, even as fuel sales increased. Behind those cold numbers lies a bitter truth. The 24-hour model can no longer survive in an America that's becoming more expensive and less safe. In many cities, 7-Eleven has had to install metal gates, limit hours, or shut down night shifts due to staff shortages. Some once bustling stores now have only pale yellow lights and a "Help Wanted" sign stuck to the glass. Insurance costs have risen by more than 30%, while petty theft, shoplifting, and minor violence have made many owners afraid to keep their doors open longer. 7-Eleven was once the symbol of convenient America, where you could buy anything, from a Slurpee to the hope of a late-night conversation at 2 a.m. This isn't just the disappearance of a retail chain. It's a sign of a society closing in on itself, where convenience gives way to fear. Do you still have a 7-Eleven glowing in your neighborhood? Share your thoughts below, because every small story today may soon become history in a changing America. Kroger, the giant supermarket struggling to breathe. Kroger was once the pride of America's middle class, a place where people believed they could still eat well and live decently without going into debt. But by 2025, this very affordable megastore is becoming a victim of inflation and massive operating costs. In just Q2 2025, Kroger's net profit dropped 7.8%, while employee insurance costs rose 22%. Those numbers may sound distant, but for every American family, they mean one thing: a more expensive grocery basket, one fewer store employee, and another supermarket on the verge of closing. In California, Illinois, and Washington, dozens of Kroger stores have been forced to shut down or merge with Albertsons. But that merger was blocked by the Federal Trade Commission over monopoly concerns, leaving hundreds of stores caught in limbo, not knowing where they'll go next. In neighborhoods that once thrived, strange new scenes are emerging. Vast, empty parking lots, faded hiring signs, and barren shelves where fresh produce, milk, and meat once filled the aisles. An anonymous employee told a local paper, "We're cutting hours, but the bills at home don't cut themselves." Kroger still operates more than 2,700 stores nationwide, but the old model, built on cheap costs, cheap labor, and loyal customers, is cracking. Consumers are turning to Aldi, Costco, or simply online delivery. Even middle-aged shoppers, those who used to drive to Kroger every week, now think twice about every trip, every gallon of gas. An America that once felt abundant is now relearning how to live frugally, right inside the supermarkets that once symbolized prosperity. And as the checkout lanes grow empty and cold lights reflect off barren shelves, we realize it's not just groceries disappearing. It's the faith and stability that once defined America. Do you still shop at Kroger? Or have you moved online like millions of others? Share your thoughts, because sometimes the fate of a supermarket reveals the mood of an entire nation. 5. Big Lots. Even discount stores have to pay the price. Big Lots was once where many American middle-class families went to buy a little comfort without breaking their budget. A sofa 50% off, a rug for just $20, or a cheap lamp for the corner of the living room. All of it once created a very American kind of savings paradise. But by 2025, that very chain of stores is slowly disappearing from the shopping map. In just 1 year, more than 200 Big Lots stores nationwide have closed. Revenue has dropped nearly 30% compared to pre-pandemic levels, while operating costs have doubled. A bitter irony: Big Lots existed to serve low-income shoppers, but now even those very people can no longer afford to buy cheap goods. The shopping carts of middle-aged consumers, their most loyal customer base, now hold only a few essentials: toilet paper, snacks, and a few small household items. Joyful purchases like dining tables, sofas, or home decorations are hardly being bought anymore. Because when rent, insurance, and medical costs soar, even the idea of cheap loses its meaning. An elderly woman shared, I used to buy everything here for my little apartment. Now they've closed, and I don't know where to go. And when a discount store has to close its doors, it's not just a sign of a retail crisis. It's an alarm bell for an economy losing its middle class, the very layer that once held America together. Do you see stores around you starting to shut down too? Leave a comment. Maybe your neighborhood is the next chapter of this story. 4. Macy's. The American icon fading away. In 2025, that icon is closing the final chapter of an era. Macy's has confirmed the closure of more than 150 stores, cut over 2,300 jobs, and is considering selling off even the real estate that was once its pride. Revenue has fallen 25% in just 3 years. Stock value has dropped by more than half. And what was once the luxury dream of the middle class has now become a memory. Walk into a Macy's today, and you'll see more empty space than merchandise. Empty shelves, extra 70% off signs, and tired employees moving quietly through the aisles. Everything feels like a nostalgic photograph. Beautiful, but sad. An employee in Ohio shared, "When we took the sign down, someone cried. Not because they lost their job, but because it felt like America was losing a piece of itself." The fall of Macy's didn't come from one big shock, but from believing in the past for too long. While Amazon and online platforms reshaped how people shop, Macy's still believed that customers would always want to touch the products. But they forgot that what Americans need to touch most, their wallets, are now empty. Today, many old Macy's buildings are being converted into rental apartments, co-working hubs, or even schools. An icon of American commerce has become a relic of a golden age long gone. Have you ever visited Macy's during the holiday season? Share your memories below, because soon those memories may be all that's left when those red and white lights go out forever. 3. Fast food. The quick meals losing their breath. McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, once symbols of a busy America where people stopped by just to find a bit of convenience in a hurried life. But in 2025, more than 200 major fast food restaurants have shut down. Not because Americans stopped being hungry, but because they've grown tired. A burger that once cost $5 now costs nearly $12. A free refill soda now costs more than a full lunch did 20 years ago. Young people are turning to healthy food, middle-aged people worry about heart disease and diabetes, and older adults just want a real meal. No grease, no rush. The cruel truth is, fast food is dying from the very thing that once kept it alive: repetition. Every store looks the same, every burger the same, every trained smile, every tired slogan. A 60-year-old viewer said, "Back then, taking my kids to McDonald's was joy. Now it just feels empty." When a meal becomes nothing more than fuel for the exhausted, people start craving the feeling of sitting down and eating like real humans again. Fast food isn't collapsing because it lost customers, but because it lost its soul. And if you want to keep up with the real changes happening across America each week, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Because in the next video, we'll talk about the cities losing jobs fastest in America in 2025. I believe that understanding what's happening today could help you avoid the biggest mistakes of tomorrow. 2. Retail. Shopping streets turning into empty lands. If you've ever walked through a shopping mall during the holiday season, you know how painful this feels. The Christmas music still plays, but no one's listening anymore. Macy's, JCPenney, Bed Bath & Beyond, names that once shined every Black Friday, now stand behind dusty glass and for lease signs. In 2025, more than 3,000 major retail stores have gone dark. Not because people have become poorer, but because they're staying home more. One click killed an entire neighborhood. When people shop online, they no longer need the cafe next door, the restaurant across the street, or the shopping center itself. And so, once bustling retail districts have turned into cold, empty parking lots. What's frightening isn't the collapse of brands, it's the disappearance of human connection. Someone who once worked at Macy's said, "I don't remember what I sold, but I remember every customer's face." Now those faces are gone, hidden behind phone screens. We can buy everything except human experience. When the last Macy's door closes, what fades away isn't just a brand, but a piece of America's memory. One pharmacy. When the pharmacy closes, worries open. Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, once symbols of reassurance. Just turn a corner, and you'd see those familiar red and white lights. But now, that light is fading, one neighborhood at a time. Within 18 months, more than 2,000 major pharmacies across the U.S. have shut down. The reasons: rising rent, pharmacist wages, higher insurance costs, and rampant theft. But the real loss isn't in profits. It's in people's daily lives. In rural areas like Arizona and Ohio, many seniors now drive more than 20 miles just to buy their blood pressure medication. A 70-year-old woman shared, "I don't know how to order medicine online. I just want to see a pharmacist, ask a few questions, and bring the medicine home." It sounds simple, but it's the voice of millions who are being left behind in the digital age. For them, the pharmacy isn't just a place to buy medicine. It's the last place that still carries a touch of humanity. Walgreens calls it strategic restructuring. But for communities, it's a quiet loss. When the pharmacy doors close, what disappears isn't just the medicine, but the feeling of care, something no app or robot can ever replace. The brands we just mentioned, Walmart, Walgreens, Macy's, Subway, were not just stores, but once a part of American life. Now, as each sign slowly goes dark, what's disappearing isn't just products, but the sense of safety and connection that once defined every neighborhood. Yet within that emptiness, something new might begin. Small businesses, local markets, real people may rise to fill the void the corporations left behind. Do you think this is the end or the beginning of a different America?